Two Sides, the Carry-On Circle. Chapter 13. Tricky. I grew up in the west side of Los Campos. Being a part of that growing up made me the person I am today. There are a lot of secrets to this city, more than people want to realize. The south and north side have big business mafias and money laundering filtering in and out. The east side has its troubles too, but it was the place where more families resigned. The west side is somewhere that nobody wanted to be. The population continues here by being born into it. My dad was a part of 19th West, which is the biggest gang in Los Campos. Naturally, I grew up in the streets because that's what I was accustomed to. My dad was someone I never wanted to be like. I always hated the color green because of what he was a part of. At 9 years old, I was practically the man of my house who needed to protect my mom and younger sister. What my dad was doing, I would rather not say, but it made me see a lot of shit. I met Antonio in the streets of the east side. It's funny because everyone likes to say the north and south sides are best friends while the west and east just need to learn to tolerate each other. Me personally, I don't know where they got that saying, but I found my east side boy. My deadbeat dad ended up dead on my 14th birthday. Happy birthday to me, right? Welcome to manhood. One of the things that Antonio and I bonded over was losing a parent. It's something we had to choke down, especially because we are both men. The difference between us is I grew up raised by women while Antonio grew up raised by his older brother and dad. His poor sister, Salia, never could have caught a break even if it killed her. I loved my family, but slowly I drifted away from them when Antonio and I got closer. I practically became a Mendoza myself. Then the carry-on circle formed and it wasn't just us two anymore. I never was too fond of everything that was going on, but we made a killing off it. This was always Antonio's thing, but everyone quickly attached me to it. At this point you may be wondering what happened to Zay and Zed. Tricky. Zed gasped as he opened the car door. Quick, get in, I don't want anyone to see you guys. While we are here I need to talk to Gabriel. Tricky said. We just came from there and he made it very clear we were not welcomed. Zay said. That's fine, you guys can wait in the car. I won't be long. Tricky made his way up the stairs with his hood on. With the Mendozas and carry-on circle being located here, you know someone is constantly looking out their window all the time. Tricky opened the door without knocking. Startled, Marcos asked Tricky. What are you doing here? I'm going to make this quick, I'm planning on turning myself in tomorrow morning. Tonight I'm staying at the ranch and packing the last bit of my belongings up to take to my mom's. Tricky said. Whoa, turn yourself in? How could you be so selfish? Gabriel asked.
Yeah.
Tricky, maybe you're jumping the gun. We can get ourselves out of this. Marcos added. He shook his head. It's me they want, not all of you. It's Antonio and I they want, and not all the people you let go down for us. How did you find out? Gabriel asked. You must think I'm stupid. Unlike you guys, the people of the carry-on circle actually trust me. They used to feel the same way about Marcos, but look where you're standing now. Hey, man, this is family dash, Marcos chimed in. Tricky cackled of family. You guys wouldn't even know what that word means. We considered each other family, but just because I'm not blood you tossed me out. Face the music. Antonio is going down one way or another. I thought you were his running mate and would do anything for him. Gabriel snarked. Tricky answered, no, you have that completely twisted. Antonio and I would do anything for each other, and if one of us went down then we went down together. Clearly that pact doesn't apply here where he would give me up in a heartbeat. Marcos and Gabriel didn't respond. Tricky shrugged, well, I see I've overstayed my welcome. How did that go? Zed asked as Tricky opened the car door. He shook his head, I hate that I've wasted so much time on these people. As they drove out of the complex, Zay exclaimed, oh my god. Look. Those are the same cars that we saw that night at the motel. Zed added. Tricky looked at the two big blacked out cars driving in the complex. What? Do you guys mean? We need to get out of here now. Zay yelled. Tricky's foot met the gas pedal and they sped off. Where would you guys want me to drop you off? He asked. Zay and Zed exchanged looks. The trapper house? Zed suggested. Okay, that's fine, but after this I have to cut ties. You guys have always been real ones and I may miss you homies, but it's safer for us to go our separate ways. Tricky replied. The two nodded. Zay said, we appreciate everything you have done for us. Tricky pulled in front of the house that was just down the street, and I could say the same thing to do. Thank you for keeping the carry-on circle together. Things were getting serious. I was officially on my own, but I didn't mind that. I never had an encounter with Scott and Beth until just now. Thinking back to the past couple of weeks where they never reached out to me, they never tried calling me, they never asked any of my informats. I don't even think they called my cosigner. Could this be a good thing or a bad thing? Maybe I'm not as wanted as I thought I was and I'm going to turn myself in for no reason. But also they can be hunting in silence, they aren't doing that with Antonio though? I could easily get out of this. No, I'm making excuses. I've grown so much as a person where I don't want this lifestyle anymore. Before I knew it I was back at the ranch. I had made this drive so many times in the couple months I've been staying here. Everything always looked like a picture. Nothing ever changing or moving. Who actually owned this property was unknown to us. Whoever owns it though sure knows what they are doing. All the cars that can be visible when you get closer is just a deception. They tried to make it as scary as possible so people wouldn't bother us. Why would they, a huge rundown ranch with multiple cars on the very edge of town?
Yeah.
That seems safe. I didn't have many things still at the house, but I needed to move my possibly potentially illegal things. Plus I had some personal belongings that I knew were safe here that I needed to pass to my mom. This was a rare occurrence where nobody except me was home. I faintly heard the sound effect of motion detected right at the entrance of our road. Usually these are just rabbits crossing, but this time felt different. There could have been multiple what-ifs. I think I made a mistake by telling the Mendozas my plan. I snuck into the bedroom of one of the main gangsters here. I know, bad idea, but that's where the hidden cameras are at. The quality wasn't good, but it told me enough. I felt my heart sink as two big black cars kicked up dust pulling closer to the house. I knew I had about 2 minutes to think of a plan. There are the locked sheds in the back, or the closets, maybe under the bed. What a curse to make the house seem like someone was always home. I guess the leaders didn't anticipate ever getting raided. I heard the tires on the gravel getting closer to the house. I couldn't help but panic. It is one of those moments where you are serious about your act until it happens. When you aren't ready, then your walk becomes all talk. I heard footsteps surrounding the house, but I was frozen in the bedroom. Thankfully, all the curtains were closed and the doors were locked. There was only one way in, and that was through kicking the door or breaking a window. All of a sudden an earth-shaking pounding came from the door. We have warrants for your arrest, boy. We have the house surrounded and sheds surrounded, so don't even try to run. A woman's voice yelled, you have 30 seconds before we kick this door in. Then another one from the window outside of the bedroom I was in. Someone is shuffling in the back bedroom. Shit shit shit. I whisper to myself as I scramble around in the bedroom. Without a second thought I slid underneath the bed and barricaded myself with clothes and other objects. As soon as I exhaled there was the sound of a crash in the front of the house. Search this place good, a man hollered. I counted my blessings one by one. What was I even doing? I should have just come out peacefully when I still had time. I made that impulsive decision because once a criminal always a criminal. It's your instinct to always find a way to protect yourself and avoid the consequences. I heard footsteps get closer to the doorway and enter the room I was in. I held my breath as one of the guys walked around the bed. Then it got silent. I heard the sound of pants rub together as he crouched. The flashlight from a gun swift from each side of the bed then to the middle. The light shined through the clothes and into my eyes. When the light stayed in the same spot for a minute I knew it was over. He is right here, he yelled. All of a sudden it went from 1 to 4 people dragging me out from underneath the bed. All 4 of them were cheering, but I felt numb inside. I laid face down on the disgusting carpet. I felt the point of a gun in my back. 2 of them lifted me up and I was able to see Scott Bounty standing right in front of me. To my left was one of his sons, Dewey, then on my right was his other son, Justin. It was haunting how much they all looked like Jacob. They cuffed me in the front and guided me outside. I internally said,
Goodbye.
to what was my home. Justin stopped in the doorway and asked where Antonia was. That I wish I could answer. Beth shook my hand and wasn't cruel at all. She began showing me everyone Gabriel gave up in place for his son, and now my name would be added to that list. The Bounties were so calm with me and not at all how I expected. A part of me wanted to give them everything I knew, but I still had love for Antonio. He was my brother through everything. I just don't think I could give him up even if I had the information to. With going to jail and making things right, that means I am getting another chance at life. That should be something Antonio decides for himself if he wants that or not. I guess his situation is different. When I got to the jail it wasn't new at all. I had been in and out a couple times before. This time I didn't know how long I was staying. Everyone seemed to know me and already respect me. In a way I feel like I didn't deserve it. I made a beeline for Marcos in the day room. Maybe this wasn't a good idea because I let my emotions get the best of me. I saw the fear in his face as I got closer. I whispered to him, if we weren't wearing jumpsuits and being watched by guards, I would beat the living piss out of you. You are a damn coward, Marcos Mendoza. You spent all that time throwing other people under the bus and look where it got you. You dug your own grave and now you're lying in it. He looked me dead in the eyes but didn't respond. I muttered, stay far away from me, I don't want to see you even in the distance for as long as we are in here. I used to ride for your family and now you're dead to me. Once people start figuring out you're a Mendoza, it's over for you. I felt a weight be lifted off my shoulders as I backed away. My story was complete for now. Jail was my second chance, and from this day forward I'm pushing the reset button. I made a lot of mistakes in my AST and I'm sure the future won't be easy. I'm not dead yet and that's all that matters.